It all started with the best intentions. Dr. Alara Harper, a pioneer in genetic engineering, sought to eradicate disease, to heal humanity's deepest wounds. Her ambition birthed Project Lazarus, a project promising genetic manipulation to strengthen the human body, to make it impervious to illness. The world celebrated her genius. Hope blossomed in the hearts of millions. Little did they know, this beacon of hope would soon plunge the world into unimaginable darkness. Alara poured her life into her research. She believed in the power of science to rewrite our destiny, to conquer the ancient enemy of disease. Her dedication was absolute, her commitment unwavering. She was a beacon of brilliance, a shining light in the darkness. The early stages of Project Lazarus yielded incredible results. Laboratory animals, once ravaged by diseases, were now completely cured. Their immune systems were impenetrable, their lifespans extended. The world watched in awe. Alara was on the cusp of achieving the impossible. She was rewriting the very fabric of life itself. The potential for human application was tantalizingly close. But with each success, a shadow grew in the background, an unforeseen consequence that would soon consume the world. The test subjects began to change. Their enhanced immune systems, while successful in fighting off diseases, started exhibiting strange, unpredictable behaviors. They became increasingly aggressive. Their physical forms altered, becoming grotesque parodies of their former selves. Alara realized with growing horror that her creation had mutated. The virus, designed to heal, was now a harbinger of destruction. The virus, instead of simply strengthening the immune system, was rewriting the host's DNA. It was a terrifying side effect. The animals, once docile and predictable, became aggressive and unpredictable. Their enhanced strength and speed made them incredibly dangerous. The virus was a runaway train, its mutations spiraling out of control. Alara tried desperately to contain the threat, to find a way to reverse the effects of the virus, but it was too late. The virus had already escaped the confines of her lab. The corporation funding Project Lazarus, blinded by potential profits, disregarded Alara's warnings about the virus's instability. They pushed for immediate human trials, eager to capitalize on the groundbreaking technology. Alara, bound by contractual obligations, was forced to comply. Her worst nightmares were realized when the first human trials proved disastrous. The virus ravaged the participants, transforming them into monstrous, aggressive creatures. The executives, blinded by greed, ignored the warning signs. They saw only dollar signs, not the impending disaster. They pushed Alara to expedite the trials, to bypass safety protocols. Their greed would be their undoing. The virus spread like wildfire through the test subjects, transforming them into something inhuman, something monstrous. The facility became a slaughterhouse, the stuff of nightmares. The virus, now dubbed the Lazarus Plague, escaped the confines of the laboratory and spread with terrifying speed. Cities became overrun with the infected, their twisted forms roaming the streets, driven by an insatiable hunger. Governments crumbled, armies were decimated, humanity was on the brink of extinction. The world descended into chaos, the very fabric of society ripped apart. The virus spread through the air, through bodily fluids, through a simple touch. There was no escaping it. The infected, driven by a primal hunger, attacked anyone in sight. Their bites, infectious, their strength, overwhelming. The world watched in horror as the news reported the fall of one city after another. Hope dwindled with each passing day. The world was drowning in a sea of despair. Section 5. Evolution of the infected. The infected continued to evolve. They became faster, stronger, more cunning. They developed heightened senses and the ability to communicate with each other. They were no longer mindless beasts driven by base instincts. They were becoming an apex predator, a terrifying new species that inherited the Earth. The virus was no longer content with merely transforming its hosts. It was shaping them into something new, something more dangerous. The infected developed a rudimentary form of communication, a series of guttural growls and hisses. They hunted in packs, strategizing, flanking their prey. They were becoming the dominant species on the planet. Humanity, once the apex predator, was now the prey, hunted relentlessly, driven to the brink of extinction. Section 6. Jackson's fight for survival. Among the ruins of civilization, pockets of survivors emerged. They lived in constant fear, scavenging for scraps and fighting for their lives against the relentless hordes. One such survivor was Jackson Cole, a former firefighter who used his skills to protect his small community. He had lost everything to the plague, his family, his friends, his world. Yet, he clung to a sliver of hope, a hope that one day they would find a way to fight back. Jackson was a natural leader. He had a quiet strength, a calmness under pressure. He rallied the survivors around him, teaching them how to defend themselves, how to scavenge for supplies, how to survive in this new, terrifying world. He refused to let the darkness consume them. He held on to the belief that somewhere out there, a cure existed, a way to reverse the effects of the virus, a way to reclaim their humanity. Section 7, A Glimmer of Hope. Dr. Beckett's arrival. One day, a faint signal crackled over the radio. It was Dr. James Beckett, a former colleague of Alara's who had been working on a cure. He claimed to have made a breakthrough. He knew how to reverse the effects of the virus, but he needed Alara's research to complete it. He knew where she was hiding. In a secret underground bunker, she had been working tirelessly to find a solution, haunted by the consequences of her creation. Beckett had dedicated his life to atoning for his role in the Lazarus Project. He had seen the devastation firsthand, the horrors that his research had unleashed upon the world. He had managed to develop a serum, a way to reverse the effects of the virus. But it was unstable, incomplete. He needed Alara's notes, her research. He knew she was their only hope. Section 8. The Perilous Journey to Alara's Bunker. The journey to Alara's bunker was fraught with danger. Hordes of infected roamed the landscape, drawn to any sign of life. Jackson volunteered to lead the expedition, his determination fueled by the hope of a cure. He knew the risks, knew the odds were stacked against them, but he refused to give up. Not when there was a chance, however slim, to make things right, to redeem humanity. The journey was a nightmare. They faced constant attacks from the infected, their numbers thinned with each encounter. But they pressed on, driven by hope and a desperate need to survive. They had to reach Alara. She was their only chance. The fate of humanity rested on their shoulders. Section 9. The final stand begins, capturing the evolved. They finally reached the bunker, a testament to Alara's genius and a symbol of her isolation. Alara, ravaged by guilt and consumed by her research, was initially hesitant to trust them, but Beckett convinced her that their only hope lay in working together. They needed to capture a live specimen of the evolved infected, to understand its mutations, to perfect the cure. The bunker was a fortress, self-sufficient, impregnable, but it was also a prison. Alara had been living a solitary existence, haunted by her creation. She had made progress on a cure, but she needed a fresh sample of the virus, a sample from an evolved infected. It was a suicide mission, but it was their only option. Section 10. A desperate hope for humanity's future. The survivors, led by Jackson, launched a daring raid into the heart of the infected territory. They managed to capture a live specimen, but not without heavy losses. They returned to the bunker, battered but triumphant. Time was running out. The fate of humanity rested on Alara's ability to synthesize a cure. She worked tirelessly, her every waking moment dedicated to undoing the nightmare she had unleashed. As the final moments ticked by, she emerged from her laboratory, a vial of shimmering liquid in her hand. The cure. The cure was a double-edged sword. It could reverse the effects of the virus, but it was also incredibly volatile, difficult to produce. They had enough to cure a handful of survivors. But what about the rest of humanity? The world held its breath, waiting, hoping, praying for a miracle. The future remained uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, there was a glimmer of hope, a chance, however slim, for humanity to